Coach, you talked about defense, that tone, and then Devin wanted to, set the tone himself. And what's your overall thoughts on the game where you guys were up by as many as 43?
Yeah, I just thought we responded the way that, we all hoped we would. Pretty much everything that we had talked about in our meeting with the guys, they executed it. But more than anything, just the attitude that we played with, the competitive fire, was at a really high level tonight.
Speaking of just the attitude and competitiveness, did you get a sense early, before the game, that that's where their mind was?
Yeah, I think at shoot around, they were locked in. You could tell they were disappointed in what we did in Boston, and led by our leaders, Chris and Bo. They were ready to go. So, I didn't expect for us to win by that large margin, but in terms of how we played, I was hoping that's kind of how we come out.
Kind of just looking at Jalen and once again playing well, and then a huge dunk of plum position overall. Thoughts on how you played tonight?
I said it the other day, but I'll say it one more time. We got to give credit to Mark Bryant and all the coaches that work with him, keeping the young man ready. And he really sees the moments that he's been given here these last couple of games. And on top of that, I think he's getting better each game. He's starting to learn different things, figuring out screening angles, how to play with Chris. He's got a real nose for the ball, which is what I like about him the most. And it's really great to see him put it all together.
And one of the things that you mentioned, Chris, is that even though Jalen was putting up numbers, Chris was constantly, hey, do this, do that. How big is that for Jalen? Even though he's having that kind of game, he's having to still get that, this is what we need from you still.
Yeah, as competitors, we always want more. And Chris is as competitive as they get. It rubs off on everybody, and I think that's where you see a lot of Chris's, coaching, so to speak, coming to place. He always wants more, and it really pushes our level in a good way.
Curious, just had a couple of things. Curious in terms of beyond both. You talked about before the game, he had the size and he needed that girth, but he clearly was locked in. It doesn't look like a guy that hasn't played all season. But just speak to what you saw from him today.
He's exactly what we need right now. Just an NBA big who can do his job at a high level. I give our front office again credit for going out and getting him. He fit in really. He fit in better than I thought he would. He just plugged him right in. He knew exactly what we were doing, and he got a lot done.
Speaking of which, it was early on. He was calling out signal. I don't know if he was asking you all if he was doing it right or what was going on through that. But it seemed like he was literally calling out defensive signals.
Yeah, he was. He's a guy who clearly, knows how to play both sides. And, we had to spend some time with him going through our coverages, trying to get him up to speed with that yesterday. Couldn't have asked for more. And in terms of that, yeah, he was calling out coverages to make sure, he was on the same page with everybody.
One last thing I have is just, as a coach, you like to see obviously improvement, but what does it mean for you personally know that, hey, we went over this, went over that, and then they went out and executed what you wanted to accomplish?
It's all you can ask for, especially after you took one on the chin against Boston. Sometimes as a coach, you feel like in your heart, you think you're doing the right thing, you think it's going to resonate, and when it actually does come to fruition, like that, it's important.
But sorry if you can ask this, but it's a pretty big lift for a guy who hadn't played, and you guys got a pretty good game out of him. You seem to fit right in.
Yeah, I'm just telling the way he fit in better than I even would have hoped. I had after just spending, we were just with him yesterday, and that was it. And here we played the game, and just in that brief time, I had a really good feeling that he would be able to help us. Ultimate pro, knows how to play on both ends, and he just lost.
Finish with Colin Olson on Zoom.
Hey, Coach. It just seemed like the guys had a lot of intent, especially early on, to push the tempo. Did you see the guys really emphasizing pace early?
I did. I thought, they did have 27 points in the first, but a lot of those came later in the period. So we were getting a lot of stops early on, and we were able to get out and go. And that's, when we're doing that, we have a lot of shooters out there that can get really good looks. So that's something that we clearly talked about coming into it. And it was good that it happened early to kind of give us that early lead.
With the type of week that you guys have had, how much can this help certain guys like maybe Landry, Mikal, Cam, like find a rhythm after the way this whole week has been?
Yeah, I think it's going to be big for Landry in particular. You know, we had talked, him and I, coming into this game about it being a good opportunity for him to probably get some good looks just based on how they're so paint conscious. And we felt like in space it could help us. So, you know, when you go through a season and there's different moments that guys can build on, and I think this is one of them to answer your question.